All right, Jeff, ready?
Oh yeah.
Nick, ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's hit it. Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast. Beep bop boop, another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and Jeff Destroyer, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, are my co-host Nick Spillstole and Jeff, soon-to-be toilet bowl champ Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts.
Gosh.
In your dreams, dude.
Oh my gosh.
You are. I'm gonna eat your babies. You're gonna get destroyed. How you guys doing today?
Well, don't do that. Just beat him in fantasy.
Nick, how you doing?
That's way too far.
Never, not
I'm
far.
good. Yeah, not far enough. Never far enough.
Jeff,
Yeah, I'm good. I mean,
doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
All right, very average week for the host this week, I guess.
average.
Nothing exciting. All right. No, so
Moving on.
we'll jump into it. We got a lot of fun stuff to get through today, so we'll kind of hop right in. So, want to touch on a few things as we always do before we get into any matchups or anything. First item of business. We got our awards being given out next week. So the Radishcast Awards. We have 3 awards to give out that the 3 of us will be voting on. The interesting part of this is that we've got some finalists, and we want you guys to make your cases in the league chat. So everyone should be, if we put you as a finalist for Coach of the Year, we want to hear from you. We're going to directly base our decisions partially on our own thoughts, but also partially on the case you make for yourself. So with that, we got a couple of awards here. So the Coach of the Year. So we got a couple finalists right now. Cooley, Monroe, and Stank are big finalists for Coach of the Year. A case could be made for Tony and Ben. So I'd say any of those people, put your case out there. Put your case as best Coach of the Year, and we'll take that into consideration. Either you guys got anything to say on that?
Yeah. Bring some good points, break it down, and I'm curious to see how people can rank themselves versus others. So, and of those recommendations, I mean, we can always have a write-in too if it's not one of those 6 guys, but be interesting to see.
Yeah, Cooley already made his case pretty strongly on one of the other shows. So
Nick, you gonna
got
throw
him.
yourself in as a write-in?
Come on now.
You're the only playoff team I didn't mention.
Yep. Gross. You see what happened last week. Same
Just
thing's gonna
crawled
happen
into
this
the
week.
playoffs.
And that's a
Back in my way in, baby.
That's a good point too. This is a regular season award, so we don't care if you are in the championship game next week when we're voting on these. That doesn't matter. This is through week 13. So if you're dropping stats on us, drop 13 weeks worth of stats. Nothing playoff related. So the other award, 2 more really, but one of them is the worst Coach of the Year. So the other end of the spectrum. The obvious choices here seem like John, Jordan, Jeff, and unfortunately myself. I got to throw myself in there with the 9-game losing streak I'm riding right now. So same thing there. Everybody can feel free to throw your reasoning as to why you're not the worst Coach of the Year into the feed. I'm absolutely going to. Any dark horses I didn't mention there. I know Troy had some moves that kind of dropped him out of the playoffs. I'm not sure if he would have made it had he not made those moves. Nick has been tough lately, but still a playoff team. Anyone else that you guys might include in that short list?
Those 1 through 4 seeds in the toilet bowl are those are the front runners in my mind. I'd be curious to see if Nick could write in and plead his case, but no.
Oh my gosh!
Those are pretty much the 4 that I would choose here.
Plead my case for not being the worst Coach of the Year. Jeez, oh Pete. I don't think I'm on John and Jordan's level. This last couple weeks I will be with everyone hurt.
I have a very, very firm belief of who I'm going to vote for already, but I'm still curious to see some of these explanations.
Yeah, John and Jordan are on the top of my list, to be honest.
Hey, don't rule Mike and I out. We're still in that running.
Yeah, come on, I want to win something.
Hey,
All right, and our last award that we're going to give out is the Lucky Duck Award. So it's somebody that maybe finished with a good or decent record, but maybe the stats say that they weren't necessarily quite as great. So the people we really looked at initially are you, Nick, as well as Tony and Cooley. Some people whose points for or their divisions maybe weren't as strong. So there's some interesting factors there as to who's going to end up as the Lucky Duck Award. So curious there. So Nick, Tony, Cooley, whether or not you state your case for this one to me is going to come down really to numbers, to your winning percentages versus your percentages against the rest of the league, and when you were winning games, was it because people weren't scoring on you, or was it because you did something well? So one other thing we want to touch on real quick before we get into it is our league betting. So Tony Fisher being the house for us. I know I won $10 week one of betting, not to brag or anything, guys, but no, I talked to Tony quick. He said that really it was pretty even as far as the house versus. So in general, the public won 50 cents over the course of the first week. So almost dead even on all of the bets. I think it was around 13 bets were placed or so. So really interesting there. Clearly the rest of you guys lost some money because I'm rich.
Yeah, I lost $6.
I broke even. So, Mike, you and I are the winners, I guess.
Apparently. Definitely not Nick.
Don't roll yourself in there, Jeff. You get out of there. You don't win anything.
All right, so
I didn't lose anything either.
That's true.
So we're gonna roll right now. Jump into our next segment. Before we do, I just want to touch on our pick records real quick. So going into this week we're about to talk about, it was Nick sitting at 20-11, Jeff sitting at 21-9, and me sitting at 21-10. So Jeff was a half game up on me, and Nick was a game and a half back from Jeff for first place there. So that's where it was before this. We'll see how that all plays out near the end. But with that, let's jump into the recap. This here's the Radish recap. These are delicious goldfish. All right, the Radish recap coming in for you. So kicking us off strong, we got myself, the Exalted Archduke Fish, taking on Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas. So Joe was a 6-point favorite here. Thanks to J.K. Dobbins' last-second 2-point conversion, I covered it, taking the 115 to 111 loss still. A solid game from both teams. I was the only one that picked this one right. Nick, why don't I throw this one to you first? What did you see in this one?
Yeah, I don't feel good about it. Covering that 115 to 111, barely covering that. This is the first time betting against you has come back and bit me in the butt. So it might change my future picks. I don't know, but once I go back on the bandwagon, I'm a little scared here. So pretty solid game from both guys. I mean, Goff with only 14. What did Cousins get? 17. Still wouldn't
would have covered.
They would have got the line for. Yeah, exactly. It's hard. It was hard with Cousins. You don't know what's going to happen. Like we said, he didn't have a great game last week. We talked about that. I brought that up, saying that he's boom or bust. So he can really hide in some games. So I understand what he did there, but he kind of fucked me, Joe. You fucked me.
Yeah, and then of course, sitting Miles Sanders, who he'd been playing bad, and he was going up against a New Orleans defense that's really good against running backs. But that's a 26.5 point swing sitting him instead of Deebo Samuel. So Jeff, what about you? Anything else in this game?
Yeah, I mean, both teams played really well. Normally you're going to win with putting up a score of 111, Mike. It just wasn't quite enough. You got a lot of your rookie running backs, and Taylor and Dobbins ultimately pulled it off for you. So, nope, nothing much more. Derek Carr has been pretty solid for you actually recently, which is kind of surprising. But
yeah, he's been playing well. I'm curious to see how he does tonight against a bad Chargers defense. I'm hopeful.
I hope he just does terrible. Personally, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
I bet you do.
but let me phrase this. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I want him to finish the game playing. So
That's growth.
Yeah.
That's growth right there. Look at that. Live on the show, we
good
got
catch,
some
buddy.
growth. All right, hopping into our next one, we got the SCLSU Mud Dogs and Coach Troy Hecht versus Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers. Troy was an 11-point favorite in this one, and he covered that one with a 119-93 victory. Me and Nick got this one right. Jeff bet the other way. And actually for this one, rather than listen to us talk about it, we got able to sit down with Coach Troy Hecht, a few weeks removed from maybe some painful weeks. We gave him a little time to recoup. So why don't we step over, listen to him talk about this game as well as some other topics. So we'll cue that up for you now. All right. So we got Coach Troy Hecht of the SCLSU Mud Dogs joining us today on the show. Troy, how you doing?
Not too bad. Not fantastic. I made my way out of the toilet bowl, so not bad, but wish I was in the playoffs. Can't say otherwise.
Yep. And that actually leads me right into my first question. So, you were able to beat your way out. You get out of the toilet bowl. Was there any concern at any point that maybe you were gonna take a few losses and get concerned, or were you pretty confident that you were gonna make your way out of that?
I was confident in the Dogs. We've been boom or bust all year, so give me 3 chances. I like my chances. I'm not saying we never went 0-3 during a stretch, which there was a pretty critical point in the season we did that. So wasn't thinking it was going to happen again, though, so I like my chances.
Yep.
plus your first round matchup against just John's hideous team. You got to feel good about yourself there.
Yeah, if I'm reading the line right, last time I faced him, the Dogs dusted him up by 93 points. So, I was feeling pretty good going into that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Troy, I'm sure everyone now that they're looking at this are looking at some of the props you got in the background here. Kind of walk us through what you got, what you're wearing, what you got around you. I'm curious to see all the stuff here.
Yeah, so since we made our way out of the toilet bowl, you guys actually caught us, before we closed up shop and left for the sandy beach, for vacation in our off season. So I'm just wearing a little t-shirt here, good for travel.
Of course.
But yeah, up in the background we got the Bobby Boucher 1998 Bourbon Bowl jersey.
Now is he in the Mud Dogs Hall of Fame at this point? Has he been inducted?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm a little older than you fellas. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I've been playing fantasy football a long time. And so my first overall pick in the 99 draft, Bobby Boucher. Lots of criticism.
For taking a linebacker that early? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Defensive player. But, I saw a lot of heart, a lot of effort, versatility, So,
Absolutely.
He probably gave me about 3 wins over 10 years that I could probably attribute right to him. So, yeah, great pick. Start off my
that's what you like to see
career.
in your first round pick, though. The versatility and heart, especially.
That's right.
I think in his first college season, he averaged like over 2 touchdowns a game. So you got to love that production.
Oh yeah. It didn't really translate, unfortunately, to the NFL, which my fantasy team paid the price for that one. But you live and you learn. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got the next question for you, Troy. So who on your team are you most excited about going forward, future years to come? I know you had Joe Mixon in there that you traded for and you haven't even been able to see play. So I'm sure he's up there.
That's an interesting question. I guess off of what you just said, he comes to mind for me, certainly. I was very high on him, which is why I decided to try to trade for him. And ultimately, I was happy to get him. I guess if I rewind, my first overall pick this year, Patrick Mahomes. I'm probably most excited to have him, understanding that, you know, he's got a chance to play under Andy Reid for, you know, probably until he retires. Mahomes under contract for 12 years. I'm looking forward to that long term as a cornerstone of the team.
It's interesting to have a position where you that's probably the only player I can think of in the league that, you know, you're not going to have to worry about ever picking a quarterback up unless, you know, he has a season for injury or something like that. He's pretty much going to be locked and loaded for you for, you know, quite some time. Yeah. So this is going to be that's definitely going to be a big one for you.
And coming from a team that doesn't have a quarterback, you know, having a guy locked in that can like put one down and just set it every week, you know, that's there's comfort in that.
Yeah, it allows you to compete every year too. I mean, having a quarterback like that, you don't even have to worry about that can go off or shoot 30, 40 points any given day. So
that's what I feel about Matt Ryan on every week in and week out. So
yeah, okay, dude.
All right, Troy.
It's nice to feel like you have a puncher's chance, right? Like in any given matchup. So
yep.
Right.
All right, Troy. You might wanna grab a drink of beer for this question, but so the tattoo bet. You knew the question was coming up. The tattoo bet. You know, give me your thoughts. What are your feelings on it? You know, I know it was probably a dark moment for that week or so there, but how are you feeling about it now that you've had a little time to reflect and look back at the game and all that?
Oh, I felt about the tattoo. No worries there. Bet's a bet is actually my idea. Had I known McCaffrey was on bye week 13, I probably would have never even suggested it because I wouldn't have thought that Chartier would take that bet. But it is what it is. Neither of us saw that actually, believe it or not. So, but yeah, so the bet's the bet. The tattoo, I'm good with that. I'm pissed as hell that I lost the game. That infuriates me. I hate losing. So that's tougher to swallow for me. Knowing that, you know, just another loss and, you know, one step further away from making the playoffs. So I know I was talking a lot of shit going into the game about how I was gifting you a playoff appearance because I knew I was going to beat Cooley, but at least I guess the silver lining is since I didn't beat Cooley, the win wasn't the difference. You know, that probably feels a little bit better. Yeah, thank you for letting me know because I'm not a guy much for looking back. You know, like kind of roll with what happens and try to learn and, you know, just go forward, right? So I never actually looked at your matchup. I just knew I lost and I missed playoffs. So you know, didn't really even venture into that result in that other game. But I guess I don't know the tattoo itself. I can get into the backstory if you guys would like to hear that.
Please,
let's hear it.
Yeah, so the Ten of Hearts story, why it's the Ten of Hearts, I'll back up quite a bit here, but after our days in the dorms up at Tech, me and Reitz lived in those apartments on 11th at the top of Agate. Jeff knows this place. He spent a half a summer or whatever the hell with me, you know, at this place. But we had just enough space for a card table and like 4 chairs in the kitchen. So at some point we felt like playing cards. We asked around to see if anyone else on the team wanted to play some euchre. Cooley and Chartier were in. So the 4 of us started playing, you know, the classic boring rules with the kitty and the scoring with the 5s and all that shit, you know. And after a few hands, I was bored. You see, I grew up playing auction euchre with a double deck.
Okay.
I guess that's ingrained into my German heritage. It's really the only style we ever played together as a family growing up. So just the regular style is a little watered down to me. And so, you know, auction euchre, you can play 4-handed, 6-handed, 8-handed, lots of variations. But this particular night at the apartment, we were 4, so I taught the boys, 4-handed double deck auction euchre, and I'm going through the rules, and we're drinking, of course. So while I'm explaining, I'm all fired up, and they're making fun of me and poking fun and cracking jokes and stuff. But from that point forward, we never played another card game. We never switched partners. It was always Reitz and Cooley against me and Chartier. Reitz kept the books. Nothing ever changed. So just lots and lots of hours, pissed away. But gosh, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best times looking back. So the 10 of Hearts specifically, it was a particularly, drunken play, from one of those many euchre games, and who knew it was Chartier that made it. So he had the lead.
Was he drinking Coors Light by chance?
So believe it or not, it's funny you bring that up. Probably wouldn't have mentioned this little tidbit, but back then Chartier actually didn't like beer.
Ooh,
so
the James Wazzy experience.
Yeah, so in these days he was straight liquor, and we kind of coaxed him into beer with like woodchuck, like hard cider and stuff like that. And then the first beer we started him off with was like a Blue Moon, and then eventually he found the love of his life in Coors Light. So this was all part of the process. Many experiments, alcohol related, sitting here playing cards. So it's part of our shared experience, part of life. But yeah, so, Chartier had the lead, before he laid his card. He yelled, "Don't question me, partner." And so what ensued was, us losing the trick and then the game. It really didn't live up to the hype. But, so the tattoo to me, it represents more than just that single, like, stupid drunken play. It's more about all the hours, time spent, the bond shared with the teammates.
That's awesome. Yeah, that actually, it's interesting to get that full story perspective, because from the outside looking in, even the description that went along with it at the start of the year, it was kind of like, oh, okay, like, it's 10 of Hearts. Yeah, I guess that's a card in euchre. I don't know, like, what does that really mean? So no, that's really good. That's I'm sure the whole league's gonna get some intrigue out of that. I'm sure a couple people might know the story, but I'm sure there's plenty that don't.
Mm-hmm. Have you picked which cheek you want to land? Yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask.
Another great question. So the cheek, I heard you guys talking about this on a different podcast. It's interesting. So going back to the post, maybe it's a bit of a misconception based on what had been written. But Chartier and I, upon establishment of the bet, we never actually agreed upon location. It's true that there were some initial discussions that were trending towards a cheek, but we ultimately left it up to the discretion of the loser. And so I don't feel compelled to get it on my cheek, but ultimately it might end up there.
Okay.
So more to come.
More to come on that. So I was I gotta tell you, I was laughing my ass off when I heard Nick say that he's the same side wipe. What the hell?
So ridiculous.
No, we're all going like this, kind of like trying to
rocking back and forth,
like work it through.
If it would be, I'd have to do it on the right cheek because I'm a dominant hand wipe and I lean left. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's funny. All right, let's roll on to the next one. So who's your prediction for the Toilet Bowl winner first? And then I'll go through like the matchups too, between Jordan, John, and then Jeff and Mike.
Yeah, so Shitter, which if you don't know that nickname, Chartier is the favorite to lose the whole thing. So he's my he's my toilet bowl champion. This is just based off of, the season in general. He can only win against one team,
and that team's gone.
So
that team's gone.
that one's easy.
I think we all would like to see Jordan kind of in that hype video, see what he could throw out there too.
It'd be bad.
It's kind of
it would be bad
too.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It would rattle me with awkwardness and just general hilarity. I'd love it.
Rattle me with awkwardness. I love that line.
And then kind of on the opposite side of things, Troy, who do you think's going to win the championship? We got Kyle versus Tony and Ben versus Cooley this week. Who do you think pulls it off?
Yeah, so the first matchup I'm going with Young Fish, T-Fish. Monroe's team is hard to pick against. It is, top end. He's got a lot of talent. It's a really good team. I don't love the way Arizona's been playing recently. And now all of a sudden they're playing a Philadelphia Eagles team that has something to play for, that's got a little spark. So he's got, 3 skilled positions there in his starting lineup. To me, that could easily go like the other way. And on the other side, I see a lot of balance in T-Fish's lineup. He's kind of the anti-Mud Dogs in that he's super consistent, right? Like week to week, like my team was boom or bust all year. He might not have the scoring averages, but consistency is huge in fantasy. And, to save some down weeks, to just, have not so much disparity in the ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's going to come through this week for him. In the other matchup, I got to go with Benny. Giving Cooley what he wants, he's the favorite technically. I think it's like it's like a 2-point favorite or something.
It's a tight line, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to make him the underdog. Got to give him what he wants. Picking Ben, but no, I just think Ben's had the better team all year. They'll come through when he needs them.
That makes sense. All right, who is your ultimate champion out of those two? Then you got T-Fish and Benny going at it. Who you taking at the end of the day?
Taking Ben. I think his team's got more upside. Okay. I haven't really looked into the matchups, but he has had the benefit of his top end talent being generally healthy. Also, Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind this year.
Yeah.
Probably sparked by T-Fish's team name initially. So got a Lions fan to thank for that again. But as a fan, I hate it. As a fantasy football analyst, having him as your QB, definitely helps. So.
All right, well, we got one more thing before we let you go, Troy. A little personalized segment for you.
Hecht's Overly Salted Kern.
I'm a bigger chunks of corn in my crop.
So this is Hecht's Overly Salted Kern. So this is Troy's opportunity to maybe get some venting off his chest. Somebody he's salty about, maybe a manager, maybe a player didn't come through when he needed him. So Troy, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's very thoughtful, and I like the T-shirts to go along with the drop and all that. So kudos to you guys for putting some time into it. Unfortunately, sweet corn is out of season at the Hecht farm these days. So I got my little this corn cob tray. It's a tray that you rest your buttered salted corn into, on the table. It's really handy. It's got this little lip on the end, so you got like all your melted butter and salt. You just kind of tip it,
guzzle it at the end.
Oh boy!
Like the heart attack slide.
Yeah.
But and so I think about who I want to take. There's a lot of options. My first one is this guy right here, Le'Veon Bell. I'm thinking, my fourth pick, didn't want to take him. This is an auto draft. There were some things happen. I can't remember what happened, but I'm prepping with like ADP and shit, and like boom, 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 like the 4 guys I want are like gone right before I have to pick. And so I'm like, shit, what do I do? Right. Bad preparation on my part. Ended up with Le'Veon Bell at 4. Didn't want him. Got nothing from him when he was with the Jets. When he got out of that situation, I was pretty excited. Then I found out he was going to the Chiefs. I'm like, all right, let's go. Here we go. Turns out didn't produce at all after that. But really, it's an auto draft selection. I can't really call him, my salted corn of the year. So my next guy that I'm thinking about is Mr. Bruce Arians here. Don't know if you guys can see the picture, but
Yep.
Holy shit. I didn't know what the hell to do with the Tampa Bay backfield. I was high on Rojo coming into the year. Then Brady and the cool kids just like, have you seen Leonard Fournette's beard, dude? Like we gotta bring him in.
The cool kids.
After that, I'm like, Jesus, like, Rojo had some good games early on, ultimately traded him away. Week 7, I think before that I traded Jeff to get Fournette because Fournette was hurt. Rojo was doing good. Week 7, Fournette comes back off injury, out touches Rojo, outscores him in fantasy. Week 8, Week 8, I played Monroe, so that was, you might say, the last great week to be right-handed. I played in a 0.5 point victory, played both Rojo and Fournette, and nearly lost me the game. So I'm like, I can't do this. I can't roll the dice with the TB backfield. Bruce Arians, mentally totally screwed me up. Didn't know what to do. So week 8 going into week 9, I'm sitting here at, looking at my fantasy team, looking at the path to the playoffs, and really it's like a 3-week like stretch where I'm like, okay, I got Stank and I got Joe and I got, Benny, and I got to win 2 out of these 3 games. And that's what I need to do these next 3 weeks. How do I make it happen? So I'm looking, I understand I got the tattoo bet week 13. I got 2 guys on my roster, my starting lineup with, week 13 buys. I'm looking at, Rojo. I'm looking at DJ Moore, and, this trade for Allen Robinson comes through the wire, and I'm like, I like Allen Robinson. He's not under contract, but he can produce in Chicago's offense. He can probably produce anywhere. I also like his matchups the rest of the year. So I like the idea of getting him. So that was a wild, probably, 36 hours of trade activity, but ultimately ended up turning that into going after Mixon, which Nick alluded to this before, but I'm a big Joe Mixon fan in fantasy. Gets a lot of volume. Also, I recently moved to Cincinnati, so I get to see him on TV every Sunday.
Okay.
That being said, he was coming off of a foot injury that held him out, I think, another week at that point, week 8. Maybe he was going to play, but it's like, we'll keep him on the shelf. Maybe give him the bye, see what happens when he comes back. But, week 9 bye, played stink, lost. And I'm like, all right, I'm winning the next 2. I got Mixon back, playing in week 10 against Joe. Went on IR, just totally killed me. Ultimately dropped those 3 in a row. Luckily recovered against Fish, but for that, Joe Mixon, he's my Hex salted kern of the year. lots of salt on this guy. It's terrible, but I am looking forward to having him. I am looking forward to having him going forward. 24 years old, under contract.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot to like in that Bengals offense going forward too. So locking him down and having him on your roster, that's going to be, there's better days to come for you, Troy.
Oh, yeah. A lot to like going forward. A lot of salt looking back. But
a lot of salt looking back.
So, Troy, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you taking the time. This was a great interview. I had a lot of fun.
Yep. Appreciate it, Troy.
I appreciate you having me. If the viewers want to and listeners want to, hear me, you're pretty low on the totem pole at this point, but appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, you guys. You're doing a great job.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the love from you, from all the league. We're just happy to entertain any way we can. So with that, Troy, we appreciate you. Time to get back to the show.
All right. Cheers, fellas.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks, Troy.
All right. It's curious to hear Troy talking there. That was a fun interview. That was probably the most fun interview we've had yet on the show. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone bring so many props to a podcast.
He set the bar pretty high for the future of the guest
seriously.
People coming on. So that was all around. That was a good interview.
Yeah. I enjoyed that one. So we'll hop into the next one. We got Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll taking on Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley. Cooley was the 9-point favorite here, and he took it to that 117-71 victory. Me and Jeff got this one right, had the cover correctly. Jeff, I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna choose how you start this one off.
Jeff's worst coach of the week.
This is not even close this week. Like some weeks you got like guys that are like, you're jumping back and forth for me. And I'm like, he made this wrong play, but what could he do? I mean, this week it's pretty obvious that our co-host, Mr. Spill Stoll, you are absolutely the worst coach of the week here. I mean, your team only putting up 71 points in a playoff game where you need to win. I mean, we knew you were going to kind of crawling in or backing into the playoffs here, but it was a bad performance, man. You had 2 guys that really scored more than 7 points. It's embarrassing.
Makes me sick.
Yeah, the painful thing is it's not like you had any other options. Your bench didn't do well. Your team just an all-around bad game. I won't sit here and I won't dwell on it for too long. Everybody gave it to you pretty hard, but Nick, I'll throw it over to you and I'll let you, maybe you can rip on yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I sure as heck can't defend myself. So I've been top heavy all year, and with Gibson out and David Johnson not playing and having to start Dookie Duke. Galladay being out. I mean, my team, this is the second week in a row where I put up some shitty numbers. So I see more of that in the future, sadly. I just got to get to next year, man. That's where I'm at right now.
Yep, apparently. And, the last thing we do before we move on from this one has got to be
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
Yeah, I could pick literally. I know. I could pick anyone on my team, really, besides Kamara and Wilson. But I got to go with Godwin. 3.5 points against Minnesota. Come on. I was expecting a little bit more than that. It scares me going forward. It seems like his target share is going to go down and down. It has been going down. Tim needs to start throwing on the ball. But yeah, bum of the week. Anyone on my team, I'm the bum of the week, really.
Oh man, that's
Your case for worst coach too. I mean,
I was gonna say,
Dude, this is playoffs.
You're not doing great. Huh?
yeah,
Oh,
true. Very true.
We did preclude
Yeah,
that.
leave it to the regular season. Gosh.
See, Jeff, he just defended himself.
Yep, that's all we needed.
All right. Well, jumping into our last matchup of the week, we only had 4 in this week full of buys. So the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on the Southwestern Bandicoots and Coach Kyle Stankowski. Stank was a 3-point favorite here. Tony pulled off the upset. So we got the 107-100 victory. Tony covered that line. Jeff and me got this one right. Nick, not a good week of picks for you. But
Common theme.
yeah, it really was. So again, similar with this one. Rather than listen to us talk about it the whole time, we were able to sit down with Coach Kyle Stankowski and get his feels on the game and you know how he's taking this tough loss as well as some other things moving forward. So we'll cue that up for you to hear. All right, so we're joined here with Coach Kyle Stankowski of the Southwestern Bandicoots. Welcome, Kyle.
Hey, what's up?
Happy to have you on the show. So you know, we just wanted to get your feel on some things. You know, I know you had a painful loss this last week to you know, Coach Tony and the Aaron Rodgers football team. So what went wrong there? You know, what we all thought that you might have it. What went wrong in that one?
Well, the biggest thing was that Tennessee and Jacksonville game, it just didn't go my way. So I had Tannehill at quarterback for the Titans and then Robinson for the Jaguars. And Tennessee, you know, Tannehill got off to a good start, but it kind of started to work against me as then Tennessee started running the ball and Jacksonville started throwing it. And, you know, that was probably my biggest shortcoming. Everybody else, you know, pretty consistent across the board. Thielen had a light game, but so did Jefferson on Tony's side, so I can't really complain about that too much. And then, you know, right down at the very end, I had a shot. Looked like they were going to throw the ball to Landry in the end zone, and then Baker ran it in. So at that point, I was like, well, there she goes. So.
Yeah, I had you going far, Stank. I'm bummed.
Yeah, I'm also bummed. I was also bummed. I had that parlay going with Tony, and one of the pieces was Mike not covering the spread. And Dobbins got that 2-point conversion right at the end, so that just kind of added insult to injury.
That was beautiful for my betting day.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I got the next question for you, Stank.
All right.
Who on your team coming forward and then coming years are you most excited about?
Obviously Jalen Hurts is starting to look pretty exciting. You know, he's kind of coming in a starting role a lot sooner than expected. He just kind of was hiding out on my roster all year. I never played him, obviously, and now he's really coming on strong sooner than expected. And then along with him, you know, Jalen Reagor, the guy who's going to be throwing to, he's been pretty quiet this year. You know, putting up literally some rookie numbers. So it'll be interesting to see how those two guys kind of develop together.
Yeah, that connection there could be pretty deadly going forward. So looking at your roster here, those are probably the two guys that you're probably most excited about heading into the next season. So I want to touch base on your going back, you know, when Devontae Parker got hurt. What were your thoughts? What were you thinking there? Do you think you have that at that point? And when Josh Allen was kind of doing crappy in the beginning and the first half of the game, were you feeling pretty good about yourself there?
Yeah, once Allen started doing bad, I mean, I think he had like 1 point in the first half. I obviously knew he wasn't going to do that again in the second half, and he ended up kind of catching up. But, you know, I think I went from like a 40% win probability up to 60 something there for a while, and then he kind of caught fire, and then it was looking pretty tough. But yeah, it was pretty nice having Parker sitting on that 0 the whole time, especially when I was kind of razzing Tony a little bit because KJ Hamler was going on. He had like 20 something points. You know, if he had made that one switch, it wouldn't even been a game. But
yeah,
obviously you can't put a rookie in that situation for the Broncos. So, you know, he had made his mistakes, I made mine, and just the way it worked out.
Yeah. I got another quick one for you here, but what are your, you know, on the other side of Nick's question, but what are your biggest concerns as you prepare for next year, you know, looking at your roster, where are some gaps that you don't really like or feel confident about right now?
I'm probably thinnest in my running backs. I think I have some, a lot of replacement players that'll fill, but I don't have any of those big studs. James Robinson really kind of saved me this year. He kind of came from out of nowhere to have some really big games. But Melvin Gordon's getting a little older. It'll be interesting to see how he holds up in the coming years. And then I got a bunch of other guys that are kind of borderline. They could be starters. They could be RB2s like Devin Singletary. Jamal Williams. When he gets his starts when Jones is out, he's awesome. But that's obviously not a guarantee. So I'm a little shaky there, but I think I got enough pieces to be able to scrape something together.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting at the start of next year. You're probably going to be 3 games or so without Melvin Gordon. Now that his court date got pushed back, and that suspension probably won't take place till next year. So that'll be interesting for the start of the year for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think? You think Robinson's going to be the back there going forward? I think so.
I don't know who else. I mean, he's definitely earned it, I would say. I know you hear a lot of talk about like draft capital, and he was undrafted. So sometimes they're less hesitant to replace guys like that when they don't have as much initial investment. But he's had an amazing season, and he's been a real stud on a team that's otherwise been pretty awful. So
you'd have to think that if they've got draft capital, they're going to try to put it now into the defense, not try to spend that or spend a bunch of money on a free agent to bring in to compete. If they've got somebody working, you would hope that they would. They're gonna.
You would think
take the cheap option there.
Yep.
The concern is always right. That they bring in a new coaching regime that's not their guy, that maybe wants to run it differently. That's really the concern. Especially with a bad team.
Right. Yeah.
So Stank, I got a little something for you. So this hits home, it's close to home for me, and I know Jeff as well as we're coming up with a matchup here. But for the Toilet Bowl, who's your prediction that's going to take home the glorious Toilet Bowl, and maybe who do you want to take home the Toilet Bowl?
I don't see any way that John does not take home the Toilet Bowl. He is the clear favorite. It's pretty much a one-horse race at this point.
Man, Colin.
Take home the Toilet Bowl. I think it'll be fun to see Jordan try to make a video.
That's the camp I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but John's gonna need some luck to get himself out of that one. He's not looking too good.
So
that's good news for you and me, Mike. We're on the other end of that.
Whoever ends up losing this week. Yeah.
This week is effectively the Toilet Bowl championship. like USA Hockey versus the Soviets.
I want to go back to it. I think John is going to make it purposely very crude editing, like pretty bad. But I think Jordan's just not even going to put any effort into it. I'm calling him out.
That's probably a fair assessment.
Maybe some of those playoff teams that we got 2 of them with us today. Maybe you guys can, with some of those rules, maybe if it ends up being Jordan, some of the rules can be that he has to spend at least 15 hours on it.
Ridiculous. Someone's got to sign it. Someone's got to be there with you.
Well, I was going back. There already are. We already do have rules where you have to feature every coach in the video.
Yep.
And it has to be, is there a time?
Maybe. I don't really remember.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I made those.
Yeah, I was just digging back through.
Who do you got?
Okay.
Who do you got for the championship matchups we got this week, Stank? You got Kyle versus Tony and Ben versus Cooley. Who do you think are winning those ones?
Yeah, I think both of those are pretty much toss-ups. It's just going to be a matter of kind of who has things bounce their way. I'll take Tony in the upset, just because I got to throw him a bone. He was a gracious winner last week, and I think he's got enough depth that if 1 or 2 of his guys don't perform, he'll still put up a decent week. And I think Kyle's just due to not have that one guy absolutely catch fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side. I got to take Ben in this one, but again, that's a really close one. No slight to Cooley. He's got a solid lineup out there too.
End of the day, who's your champion?
I hope Benny wins. I'll ride with Ben.
Okay. Putting you on the spot, I know.
Yeah.
One last thing before we wrap up here and let you go, I do want to jump into a little bit of a special segment we got for Coach Stankowski here. So let's hop into it.
Kyle's Curse.
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
So Kyle's Curse is somebody that maybe Kyle wants to throw some bad juju at, somebody that didn't end up on Stankowski's good side. So I'll let Kyle take it away.
Yeah, so I'm going to place a curse, or a hex, rather, on a manager who has insulted, disrespected, and otherwise committed general atrocities towards the Bandicoots franchise. And that manager is Kyle Monroe.
Uh-oh.
On September 8th,
shit.
he picked the Bandicoots to finish 9th in his season power rankings. Very disrespectful.
He's got receipts.
Which we found
15th,
was way off.
15th, he countered my trade with Jordan Chartier, which is a very good trade. It would have worked out great for both of us. And he totally screwed me over, which was
Screwed Jordan over.
a general atrocity. Yeah, he screwed us both over. And then on October 21st, he tried trading me Mike Evans and a third-round draft pick for Ryan Tannehill, James Robinson, and a second-rounder, which is very insulting to my to my competence as a general manager. Maybe he's just like hoping for a misclick or something. That's all I can think.
Misclick.
And
throw
then,
some wild ones out there.
Lastly, on Sunday, he cheered for me to win my matchup because he saw me to be a weak opponent. So for all these things and more, I issue a 1,000-year curse on
1,000 years? Good God.
Sorry, Kyle, you ain't winning shit.
Ever.
It's a little Kyle on Kyle curse action.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. I'll be curious to see Monroe's reaction to the curse on him and his team. We appreciate you taking the time, Stank. Appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to see what else you guys put out this week.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
have a
guy.
good one, Stank.
Yeah, you guys too.
Stank.
Okay. All right, that was a nice little interview we had with Stank. Kyle Monroe, beware. That's that's not
or not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, true.
To be seen. That's not a good look. Not good when you're getting cursed by the ghosts of the league. At the end of all that, I had a perfect week there. Nick, not so much. So I actually have taken the lead. 25-10 is my record. Jeff pretty close behind at 23-11. Nick starting to separate himself in a bad way at 21-14.
Bye.
So yeah, it's curious over the next couple weeks. We got 2 weeks left of games to call. So. Really curious how this plays out between me and Jeff, and then how far back Nick falls. So,
got to take some chances here, boys.
Yeah,
all right.
You could either gain some ground, or you're gonna just keep spiraling down.
Lose bad.
All right. With that, let's jump into our next quick segment.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I am not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
So this one's going to be like in the future. We're not going to get a result anytime soon. But within the next 4 years, will there be a repeat winner of the championship here in the Husky League?
It will happen.
That was Mike's.
Ooh.
Will it happen?
All right. Let's not waste any time here and hop right on into the matchups.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
All right, first matchup we got is the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe. The top half of the bracket here, Kyle Monroe is the 3-point favorite coming off of his first-round bye as the number 1 seed. It's a really interesting game. It's a rematch, obviously, of the division championship game we saw the other week. Tony had a win earlier in the year. Kyle had a win later in the year. And we got the grudge match coming up now. So, Jeff, I'll throw this one over to you first. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm excited for this matchup. That's for sure. It's kind of two powerhouses going at it. I am picking Kyle not to cover this 3-point spread here. I think Stankowski touched on it in his interview, if I remember correctly. Tony's team has just got that depth. It's got guys that can overcome, maybe a dud one player or something each week. So I think Tony ultimately is going to pull this one out. I like Allen in this week. I think Eckler's just getting back to kind of being a dominant force. And then, we touched on it earlier. Kyle always has that one person that goes off, but at some point, maybe that won't happen. Maybe this is the week. So
that's interesting. So that's two guests that we had that both picked Tony to take this one. We got our first analyst taking Tony to win this one. Also for the cover. Nick, where do you land on this?
Oh boy! Now that I heard Jeff and those two guests picking Monroe not to cover, I have Monroe not covered in my notes, but I got to gain some ground here.
Ooh, the tilt.
I think Monroe. If this one's a toss-up, these couple games here, I wanted to see how you guys kind of bet on them. I'm gonna go Monroe is gonna cover.
Okay.
This one, I know we have some. It'll be interesting on Tony's team if Michael Thomas plays. I think did not participate today in practice. That might swing it one way or the other. And then, as Troy was talking about Arizona, Kyle's starting 3 guys from Arizona against Philly. I don't think it's a bad matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but they have something to play for. Hurts is coming through, so
yeah,
see here.
We've said this a couple times. It's tough to pick against Kyle Monroe. His team is very stacked. I am absolutely picking against Kyle Monroe this week. Not much love for the number one overall seed. So I'm going.
I got you, Kyle.
I'm going with Tony in this one, and really it comes down to matchups for me. I think Philadelphia is a better defense than people usually give them credit for. Tyler Lockett hasn't been good, and Washington is a very good defense. The Giants, you just saw them, hold up the Seahawks to almost no points, and Chris Carson included. He's not a bad running back. Now you got Chubb going in that game. I think Chubb's better. I think they're a better running team, but still that defense has proven that they're at least formidable. Tyreek Hill is pretty matchup proof. New Orleans is a tough matchup, but he's not a guy that I'm like tilting on because of it. But overall, just not really friendly matchups. And on the other side of the ball, Juju against Cincy, that's a nice one. Las Vegas for Eckler, that's a nice one. So I'm really looking at Tony's matchups, and I think that gives him the edge this week. So yeah, sorry, Kyle, you got haters.
You got Carson against Washington and Jefferson against Chicago though too.
Those aren't, but Jefferson's last matchup against Chicago, over 100 yards, I believe 10 receptions in that game. Had a monster game last time they played him. So Chicago
he finds a way to do it. He's having a hell of a rookie year, so it's hard to at this point, root or think that he's not going to. And on the opposite side, Mike, you mentioned Tyler Lockett. He's due for one of those monster games potentially, but I don't know. Yeah. It just feels like every so often when he's been down, he's gonna bust out for something. So that could be a potential right there.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, let's hop into our next matchup. So we got Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley on the other side of the bracket, taking on the first round bye of Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stelzer. Cooley is able to pull off the 1-point favorite in this one. I know, despite the fact that Cooley would do everything in his power to be the underdog, he doesn't want the pressure, doesn't want the expectation on his team. I think that sets a bad example for the members of the team. But Nick, what do you think in this one?
Dang, I wanted to hear your guys' first, but
do you want me to? We can hold you if you want.
No.
Sure? Okay.
No, I'm gonna do this one. Alex is not gonna cover this one.
Okay.
I know my bets now are gonna go against my previous guarantee that a division winner will win it all, but I gotta make some moves here. So, I got Alex won't cover. Looking at the matchups, I like Cooley's matchups more. They get Davis against Green Bay's is going to be pretty good. I don't know, though. Johnson hasn't been getting as many targets. I know he had like 7 or 8 last week, but hasn't had the performance he usually does. It's hard to bet
against
Cook,
drops, too.
Yeah. It's hard to go against Cook, even though he's going against Chicago. You talked about that Cleveland, New York matchup, but Benny scored 130 last week without Fuller, so he's hot, baby.
Yeah, and when I look at this one, I got to go with the team that's got, and this is surprising because this is kind of against what we've been saying all year, is that, Cooley's got holes in his lineup, and it's, it's tough to win when you can't put a complete group out there. I see it the other way this week. Russell Gage has not been someone you can count on. Jordan Reed, it's tough to count on him as your tight end, and even James Conner, going up against Cincy, that should be a plus matchup, but he hasn't been good. He's been a little banged up. You don't know if he's gonna ride the pine after the first drives there. They said something about him dealing with a leg injury, and it's tough. I love the top of Benny's lineup. I love the Rodgers. I love the Cook. I love the Diggs, but once you really dig into it, Cooley's consistency, I think, holds him out in this one. So I got to go Cooley here. Jeff, you're my last one. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, you touched on Connor. I mean, even if Connor doesn't go, he does have Snell on his bench that it didn't pay off earlier in the year, but he might be able to slide him. And Gage is a tough one for me because, Julio's banged up. Ridley's dealing with a slight injury. He's kind of questionable if he's going to go or not. So it comes down to it, who's going to catch the ball. I think Tampa Bay is going to be up in that matchup. So Matt Ryan is going to be slinging it. That's a good, or I don't think that's, I don't know, with Matt Ryan.
I don't know.
Lost for words. It's just, so, it could be good for Gage, but I'm going to pick Cooley does not cover this one. I think Ben has this. I think Cook is due for a big game. Hunt, Rodgers. I do think it's going to be very close, but I think
Cook had 13 against Chicago last time they played too.
But
he was held down a little bit.
But Akeem Hicks was not playing in that game, so that Chicago defense wasn't quite as run stopping as it usually is, because they were missing one of their best linemen. So that game maybe is a little bit misleading.
Cook is kind of match for me. Cook
really is. He's matchup proof. Even in his bad matchups, he gets 100 yards. So
he can break a 50-yard touchdown, every game, it seems like.
So Jeff, you're picking Benny in this one. Does it have anything to do with
Jeff's Keep On Cooking?
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
And this week's Jeff's Keep On Cooking brought to you by Hecht Sweet Corn. Troy Hecht on the show earlier today, a big fan. Nick's still wearing his shirt, so all of us here on the Radishcast are big fan of the sweet corn, and we appreciate Hecht Farms.
Love the Heck Farms so much that I actually have 2 T-shirts somehow of the Heck Sweet Corn. I know you're jealous, Nick. But yeah, this week my Jeff's Just Keep On Cooking Sweet Corn Player of the Week is Stefon Diggs. He is he's gonna go over that 20-point mark he did last week. He's going against Denver. He's Allen's number 1 receiver. He's just, I think Monroe mentioned it earlier in there, he's just Mr. Consistent this year, and all it takes is one play to bring it in the end zone for him to eclipse that 20-point mark. So I see that. I see a good game for Diggs, and that does factor into my decision that Cooley won't cover this. So
shoot.
All right.
I might have to switch my bet knowing this man meat.
All right, let's hop into our next matchup here. So we got the Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll taking on the Southwestern Bandicoots and Coach Kyle Stankowski. Kyle Stankowski is a 12-point favorite in this one. The totally meaningless 5th place game has absolutely no purpose. So we aren't going to spend a whole lot of time on it.
Bragging rights, man. Bragging rights, it matters.
Bragging rights for 5th place. You'll love to see it. So we won't spend too much time on this. I'll lead us off here. I'm going to take Kyle to cover this one. 12 points, I think he's able to do that. Nick, your wide receiver core doesn't look very good right now, as well as David Johnson having a tough matchup against Indy. I'm gonna take Stank to cover that 12-point margin. Jeff, how about you?
I go the exact same way, Mike. I think Stank covers this. I think I don't know, Nick. Your team is just deflated at the end of the year here, so I think Stank covers this probably like pretty easily. So,
Nick, what about you? Do you have confidence in yourself to rebound?
Yeah, so we got you both picking Stank to cover. I need to get a comeback going, but I can't on this game. I don't see myself breaking 75 points. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. Stank's gonna win pretty easily.
All right, and before we move on, let's take one quick look.
Nick's Garbage Time All-Star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
All right, here we go again. My Garbage Time All-Star is going to be Hurts. I would not play him, Stank. I mean, you probably still win either way. But he had a good game last week. They're going against Arizona. I know we touched on that. Deceptive defense, but I still think Arizona's going to get up on them, and Hurts is going to a rookie in there trying to fling the ball around, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I do not endorse the pick, though, Stank, so do with it what you want.
This is the second week in a row, I think, that Nick has picked a backup quarterback for a team as his Garbage Time All-Star.
Let's go.
How did Stafford go? Did he perform?
Oh, dude, he didn't.
Oh, no. I already knew that answer. I just wanted you to say it.
Yeah,
Jeff,
I know you did.
Jeff, he got hurt. You'd have loved it.
Yeah, true. It played into my absolute guarantee of the Packers winning. So yeah, I did love that.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop into our next matchup. So moving on to the losers bracket now, we got Lick McCaff and Medak and Coach Jordan Chartier taking on Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers. John's actually coming into this one as the 3-point favorite. Jeff, why don't I give this one to you first? What are you thinking in this?
We all don't like John and his roster, so I have Jordan covering this, so John does not cover. Right now, Jordan's got McCaffrey in here. I think that the line is adjusted to for him not playing. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a big week. I can't get behind John's roster one bit. He got lucky with Akers last week performing, and
lucky.
I don't know. It does seem like he took over the backfield, so maybe not lucky. And he is going against the Jets, but I just think I think Jordan's got this. I can't. I've been rooting against John for so many weeks now. It's just ingrained in me that
it's part of your identity.
Vote for him.
It's part of your identity.
Exactly.
I'm on the same boat with you here. I'm picking Jordan as well. We've I don't know which of John's plays this year has been the most hilarious to me. The Kyle Juszczyk play or the AJ Dillon play, but Lynn Bowden is up there. Which is this week's hilarious play of the week. So congrats, John. I'm happy you keep this show interesting because I get to bring up players that have no business being brought up on a fantasy football podcast. So, Nick,
I almost think that might be a cheeky start. I don't know, with Gesicki not in there, he's being hurt. 7 receptions last week with Bowden
against New England,
but. I don't know.
Does he draw Gilmore if Parker doesn't play? I mean,
oh, good Lord.
Does he, though?
Who
else is there?
Probably not. I think he's more of a slot receiver. I mean, he's a receiver / running back, so I don't think he's playing outside much. So Gilmore's probably, if I had to guess, with so few receivers, Gilmore's not going to shadow anyone. He's just going to play one side of the field.
When there's no one John with the Akers.
Akers, I do believe Akers is a solid play. I think it really looks like they're going to start going that way. They'll still use Darrell Henderson as a change of pace, but I think Akers is going to get the lion's share. Nick, who you got in this one?
Yeah, so me defending John, I'm actually going to say he doesn't cover this one.
So you have
I
Jordan
look over
also?
there. Ty's playing. Yeah, I also have Jordan.
Ty.
Yeah, coming off some good games. Marvin Jones against Tennessee. And Green Bay running the ball against Carolina. I think Aaron Jones is going to. Yeah, I think it won't be that close. After I defended John for all his picks, but he's not. It's not going to be enough, John. Sorry.
John's pretty scared too. On a side note, he texted me the other day and wanted me to choose TY as my Jeff's just keep on cooking because of the missing the last couple weeks, and he's like, I need a win, so I almost went with Cam Akers just in spite of John to put that bad juju to him, but couldn't do it. So
yeah, that would have been funny. But yeah, no, I really think, and it's kind of been brought up earlier on the show that this may be a preview of who ultimately gets to hoist that toilet bowl trophy. But why don't we take a look at the other side of the bracket and two hosts in house playing each other. So we got the Exalted Archduke Fish III and Coach Mike Fisher taking on Jay's Juggernauts, Coach Jeff Gregory. So I am currently the 6-point favorite in this one. Nick, since it has to do with both of us, you get to lead us off here. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, I'm saying that Mike will cover this. Mike, I'm back on the bandwagon. Don't let me down, buddy.
Took 1 week.
I like 1 week.
Like
you talked me into it.
I like that choice, Nick. Because usually when you pick Mike, it goes wrong. So I'm all.
Nick.
That's true. Sorry, Mike. I like that car matchup. Your running backs are doing well, Dobbins and Taylor. We'll see what Woods does.
Nick, I'm looking for your live on-air advice here. What do I do with Ezekiel Elliott? He's my flex running back. I mean, there's not a whole lot of options on the depth chart, but Jacoby Myers, T. Higgins, Demir Bird, I wish I had Henry Ruggs. I might throw Henry Ruggs in there, but he's on IR this week.
He had a good game. Wasn't it last week?
Yeah, Gus Edwards.
He had a pretty good game.
Gus Edwards is the one that I could start both Baltimore running backs against Jacksonville.
Sneaky.
Is there
JD too?
Is JD McKissick? Is there anyone that you think is worth benching Elliott against San Francisco, or do I just grit my teeth and spread my cheeks and keep rolling with it?
Spread my cheeks. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, he didn't play or practice today, did he?
Limited participant.
Zeke? Oh, it's so tough. It's hard because of the name, and mostly because you have no one else. But who's McKissick going against this week?
Washington has
Seattle.
And honestly, that one comes down to, I mean, if it's Alex Smith, then yes. But if it's Dwayne Haskins, you couldn't pay me to start him.
No. No. Yeah, I don't know who you're going to start over. I would not start Gus Edwards. That's too many touches running the ball between all three of those guys,
especially since I have Hollywood and Dobbins, so that's a lot of Baltimore to count on.
Yeah, you got to hope it goes to those two guys, and Lamar doesn't run the ball as much. And I think you roll with Zeke. Unless it's, I think you roll with Zeke.
Unless it's a guy like Ian Thomas or something.
Yeah, probably throw Ian Thomas, right, Jeff? All right, Jeff, why don't I throw this over to you? We got our matchup here. 6-point favorite for me. Do you think you're within that or taking the victory?
Unlike you, Mike, I'm actually confident in my lineup and the guys that I'm starting. So I got myself. You do not cover this.
How's that worked for you so far this year?
One game worse than you. So hopefully,
one game worse than you.
Hopefully, all it takes is 1 week here. So, I think my wide receivers are due for a good week. I'm hoping Matt Ryan does not let me down again, like he has all year. And I'm kind of going to sneaky play with Curtis Samuel against the Packers. Hopefully, it pays off.
Sneaky. It's curious that you mentioned me being 1 game worse than you, because according to our matchup preview that came to our emails today, if I played you every week, I would be 9-5 this season.
Really? I have not had a chance to read that
yet. And you would be 2-12 if you played the same schedule as me. So,
what would you be if you played my schedule?
7-6, I think it said.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no. So yeah, obviously I'm taking myself also. I think
I'm doubling down on me.
You want to do the double up?
Let's do it.
The classic double up.
The double up, baby.
Let's do it.
I will accept the double.
I'm accepting too,
baby.
I needed to get that in there. I only had so many chances, and
that'll be our.
Why not vote on yourself? Why not vote on yourself? So
why
that's
not?
What I'm going with.
me. I mean, you can look at my team and say not to do that.
Yeah, but you're in a meaningless game right now, so
right.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's jump into our
breezed over your matchup.
Let's jump into our last game, another meaningless game, the coveted seventh place game of the SCLSU Mud Dog and Coach Troy Hecht taking on Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas. So Joe is the 10-point favorite in this one. Like we said, this is another bragging rights only game, has no bearing on the league, but gives us another matchup. So let's talk about it briefly. Nick, I'll give you this one first. Who are you seeing in this one?
You guys go first. I wanna hear this so I can bet against.
Jeff, or do you want me to take it?
I'll go.
Okay.
I ain't scared. Joe doesn't cover this. I look at Joe's lineup, and it's scary. I like his wide receivers, all 4 of them that he's throwing out there, even his 2 running backs. But despite that, we had Troy on earlier, and man, he swayed me to choose his team. So I'm rolling with the SCLSU Mud Dogs and Patty Mahomes leading that team there. So Joe does not cover this.
Yeah, and I looked at this originally, and I actually looked at Troy's team first, and I saw Mahomes, Wilson with a good matchup, Derrick Henry against Detroit, Robinson, good matchup against Minnesota. I was looking down this, Logan Thomas even's been playing well. I was looking down this lineup, and I was like, okay, I think I'm on Team Troy. But then I took a glance over on the other side, and I saw a lot of things I liked. This is a tough one. I am gonna go with Troy. I'm gonna stick with Jeff's pick here and go with Troy, but mainly because of the uncertainty surrounding Keenan Allen. They were saying even if he's active, he's gonna maybe be on a limited snap count this week. He's been so reliant on Keenan Allen that I think that kind of turns the table and doesn't quite get him that 10-point victory. So I'm going Troy to cover this. Nick?
I think you know where I'm going then.
Joe it is.
Yeah. Joe it is, baby.
Joe, congratulations. Joe, congratulations. You got defaulted.
Yep.
Ooh,
Nick made his mind up.
I had
2 seconds before this, right after.
Yeah,
break.
I had Joe wasn't going to cover to start the game or start podcast, but I thought this game was going to be pretty close. 10-point spread is a little too big for me, but fuck it, I got to come back somehow.
But you're stuck with it, so.
Yeah, and here I am.
All right, here we are.
We got to hope for Troy having a down week, but with Henry against Detroit, I don't see it happening. And Allen Robinson against Minnesota too.
Yep. So I'm going to cut you off here because we are running a little long on our show. We had some guests that really gave us some good content. So we do want to kind of wrap this up, keep it timely. So one last segment before we call it a day.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee.
All right, the shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee is. Who wants it? You want me to take it? One of you guys desperate to go first?
Get it, Mike.
All right.
Get it.
My absolute guarantee. Kyle's curse is real. Tony Fisher wins this week's game because the Kyle's curse takes down Kyle Monroe and his team does not perform.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
I have a question. I got a question about that. So that mean Kyle's going to lose for 1,000 years?
Who knows?
That's his absolute guarantee, I guess. So every time Kyle wins, Mike's guarantee is in question.
I'll say maybe he doesn't lose every game for 1,000 years, but 1,000 years of bad luck can take a lot of different forms.
Yep,
that's true.
All right, Nick, let's have you go next.
Okay, my shut up. Baby, I know it. Guarantee is that Stank will beat the Tank Boys by more than 20 points this week.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Not very confident with yourself here.
Quite the opposite.
No.
Very confident. He's very confident in himself. He's very confident that he will do poorly.
That's true.
That's just another level of confidence.
Get it right, Jeff.
All right, Jeff, let's hear it.
My shut up, baby, I know it absolute guarantee is in the matchup with Cooley and Benny. I got Lamar Jackson will outscore the red hot and soon to be league MVP Aaron Rodgers.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
All right. This looks like a lot of rushing yards, I guess you're calling for then.
That's all you can hope for.
Yep. All right. So, one last, just running back through. It looks like me and Jeff have Tony. Nick has Kyle. Do you have Kyle to win the game then? Clearly by a good margin, huh? The only one with confidence.
What was that?
In Kyle.
Oh, it's only 3 points.
Only 3 points. It's a tight one. But yeah, you're the only one with any confidence in Kyle on the show today, so that's interesting.
Let's go, Kyle. I got your back, buddy.
Out of all 5 of us, Nick, you're the only one.
Yep. Jeff and Nick picked Ben. I'm taking Cooley. Jeff, Nick, and Mike all with Stankowski. All confident, or I guess all disconfident in Nick. All of us have Jordan to take on John. I think John is currently our show front runner to be the toilet bowl champ.
Longtime enemy of the cast too.
Long-time enemy of the cast. So Nick and myself have me to cover against Jeff. Jeff's taking himself, and that is our week double up.
And game of the week, I think, too, Mike.
Game of the week.
Would you get on board of that?
You're the
Brandon
one.
it.
You're in charge. So if you call that the game of the week, the people will follow.
I can't do it. I think Tony and Monroe's is the game of the week. We'll just slide that in right at the end.
I would agree. It's kind of cheeky. It's kind of cheeky to give a toilet bowl game the game of the week. The toilet bowl championship, maybe though.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
And then me and Jeff have Troy, and Nick has Joe in that others in the 7th place game. So with that, good luck to everyone out there. Unless you're Jeff, we will see you guys next time.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root, high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.